Hey there, Retuders! JabeerIni here, and today we're gonna brew the beer I'll be drinking in my birthday. Actually, it's not today because my birthday was more than 3 months ago now, but the brewing video, the brewing day you're about to see was from like a month before my birthday. So for my birthday, I wanted a hoppy beer, really hoppy, and I was looking for inspiration, so I checked the DIY manual from BrewDoc. I'm sure everyone knows it, but here's a cover. I got it in PDF, it's easier for me, and in page 149, you will find a beer called Mushy Mushy 15, which is an American pale ale. So it's a hoppy pale ale with American hops. I took the inspiration from that recipe, but I tweaked it just a little bit on the malt side, adding some Pilsner. It's a personal preference. I find Pilsner along with Munich and Pale to Row or Maris Otter to be a very nice and crispy mix, and that's what I've been doing in most of my blonde and pale beers, so I think it's just gonna be good in this one. Also on the hop side, I swapped Centennial for Citra. So if you check the manual, you'll see the hops are Columbus, Centennial, and Cascade, and I used Columbus, Citra, and Cascade. Apart from that, well, everything is pretty much the same. The yeast, there's also a difference. They recommend white yeast 1056 American ale, and I used an M36 from Mangrove Jacks. That's a Liberty Bell. Actually, not the yeast itself, but the slurry I got from the Valencian IPA, which was an M36 by Mangrove Jacks. Apart from those little tweaks, which I reckon would make a completely different beer, that's a beer I'm brewing. But I needed to give credit to the original source of inspiration for this beer, because, well, normally I just design my own recipes or get inspiration from here and there, but I don't used to just use a recipe and tweak it, which is the case here. So with that being said, and without further ado, let's travel in time and go to that brew day, which in reality was a brew night.
Okay, so I've got the grains ready, and I don't know if you can tell the difference. Probably you can, but here I've got 3 kilos of extra pale malt, 880 grams of Cara malt, 190 grams of Cara amber, 65 grams of Munich, and 65 grams of Pilsner. That's it for the malt. Now, as for the hops, I've got 2.5 grams of Columbus at 60 minutes. It's going to be a 60 minutes boil. Then 3.5 grams of Columbus and 6 grams of Citra at 30 minutes. As a fighting agent, I'm using a full tablet of Protoflock, 15 minutes before the end of the boil. And then 10 minutes before the end of the boil, I'm using 18 grams of Columbus, the remaining of this bag, 19 grams of Citra, and 20 grams of Cascade. After fermentation is over, I'm gonna dry hop it with 75 grams of Citra and 50 grams of Cascade for 5 days after, well, as I said, after fermentation is over. As for the mash schedule, it's quite simple. It's 55 degrees for 10 minutes, 65 degrees for 60 minutes, and 75 degrees for 10 minutes. As for the yeast, as you can see, I'm not sure if I'm going to use a Mangrove Jacks N42 or an M36. So we will just have to wait and see. And that thing here, what I'm drinking, is a pint of my Mosaic IPA. Let's see, I'm going to show you around the setup. The kettle is already increasing the temperature to get to 55. It's quite hot out here. I don't know if you can see me well. I'm going to show you something about this pint, not with regards to the beer, but with regards to the key keg. It's something that I found. It works. So in case you have a key keg, you can do that too. It was a crazy idea, but if it works, it's not that crazy, is it? So while I wait here, I think I'm gonna finish this, and when it's time to refill, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Cheers and beers. It's very dark, but it's time to add the grain, and here we go. Okay, these are the last minutes of the first step of the mash, the 10 minute 55 degrees. Look at that color, looking golden and milky. A lot of foam up there. So far, so good. So, since my pint is over now, let's go to the kitchen and show you my ghetto system for the key keg. So here we're in the kitchen, and this is a key keg of my Mosaic IPA. The cool thing about this, and what actually brought the idea to my mind, is that key kegs don't work with CO2. It's any gas goes in, and then it pushes the bag. I don't know if you can see the bag that is inside the capsule. So it squeezes the bag, and then, well, beer comes out. In this case, this is a picnic tap. I also have this, you know, the good one, but setting it up here was a little bit complicated, and I really wanted to try to do things as simple as possible. So here I've got the picnic thing. And what's the innovation in this thing is that I'm not using CO2, but I'm using, ta-da, a bicycle pump. Pump used to push air into your bicycle's tires. You see, I did this because the CO2 bottle I've got is big. It's a 10 kilo CO2 bottle, so it wasn't practical to bring it here to the kitchen. So in any case, I just wanted to give it a go and see. Look at the simple connection I've used here to the gas line, and then, well, judge by yourself. I'm gonna pour myself a nice pint. The only thing I noticed is that it takes a little longer than it would normally take when you're using CO2. But hey, it's only a matter of patience. You'll see how perfect it pours, and it's so cheap and so functional that I'm loving it. I'm really loving it. By the way, in case any of you want some more details or specifications and how to do this, well, even if it really looks self-explanatory, well, please leave me a comment, and I'll be glad to go into details about this connection. It's super easy, actually. It's dead easy. I mean, it's foolproof. And to be even more specific, I just tried it once and it worked. You know, I wasn't willing to actually invest a lot of time in the development of the idea. If it didn't work, I would just have brought the bottle, the CO2 bottle, I mean, to the kitchen. But look at this. Perfect pour of a perfect pint. Look at that. I would say even perfect amount of foam. Beautiful. Especially now that it's crazy hot in here. Cheers and beers. Woo! Yeah. Alright, so boil just started now. This is time for the 2.5 grams of Columbus. And in they go. So far, really quite nice. 30 minutes before the end of the boil, this is 3.5 grams of Columbus, 6 grams of Citra. And in they go. 15 minutes before the end of the boil, time to add the full tablet of brown flock, and in it goes. 10 minutes before the end of the boil, time to add the 18 grams of Columbus. Boom, and they go. 19 and 20 grams of Citra and Cascade. Look at that. That's a big load. And in they go as well. Okay, so mash is over now. And this is the residue of my M36 Liberty Bell. So I have no doubt I'm gonna use this as the yeast for this beautiful beer. Look at that. This is the beer that was on top of my Liberty Bell ale yeast that I harvested. Look at this, is pure beer and it's beautiful. It tastes like the beer that I bottled. So no doubt this is gonna do a beautiful job in this beer. Okay, so now we're ready to pitch the yeast. Well, not pitch, but add all of this in here. So I guess I'm just gonna mix a little bit of wort with this, and that'll be it. Here's a picture of the original gravity for you to see it. And that's it for today. That was a successful brew night actually. Cheers and fantastic beers. And it's dry hopping time. This is 50 grams of Cascade, and I'll add the remaining of my 100 grams of Citra, which is 75 grams right here. So it's all going to go in the fermentation vessel now. The gravity, the final gravity, as you can see in the picture, is 1010. So that's 1 point below expected. But it won't affect it. Actually, it would make up for the loss that we had in the original gravity. So hopefully everything's good. So here's the thing. Here's the beer. It smells fantastic. And here we've got the hops. And someone's giving me a little hand. There you go.
Now let it go.
Let it go now. Well, that wasn't subtle. That was good. Well, in they are. Alright, and that was it. It was a very successful brew night. I was really happy brewing that beer for my birthday. And I'm also happy to have shared with you my ghetto system for a key keg. If you're interested, I can always, go into more details or even make a video how to do that. But I think it's pretty much, what you saw there, it's super simple. I just like to throw new and different things here and there on my brewing videos. So there you go. That's it for today. If you like what you see, like, and don't forget to subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching. Cheers and hoppy beers. Cheers.